Hello Wildlanders! In Dylan's recent stream, he showcased Iron Dusk's mod called Wounds and discussed it being added to the mod pack down the line. While he did say that this wouldn't be part of the 1.2 update, I do think this would be an interesting addition to the game, significantly changing how we adventure. One of the larger adjustments to the game this mod would bring is damage to specific parts of your character's body. For example, you're traveling, you come upon a bear, and he ends up slashing you across the arm. Now you've sustained significant damage to your right arm. This is great from a role-playing perspective, as you wouldn't expect to engage in combat over and over without sustaining some lingering effects to your ability to continue to fight and your overall quality. Now that your right arm is damaged, you will have to get it treated either by some in-game first aid items or by a registered healer from your town. Once again, this is beneficial because you are being directed to interact with different townsfolk you may have otherwise never had a reason to speak with. If you choose to wait to get these wounds fixed, you will suffer different debuffs. These are dependent on the part of your body that was injured as well as the severity of the injury. For instance, a severe injury to your leg may decrease your movement speed as you are now forced to hobble around, so to speak, as opposed to your right arm, which may decrease your ability with weapons as well as decreasing your overall stamina. Not to mention that these wounds increase your chances of getting infected, which makes sense, so they're not something that can be ignored indefinitely. Now the first concern that comes to mind for me is, well, what am I going to do while I wait to be healed? I don't really want to be forced to sit around town waiting until this just magically gets fixed. Well, Dylan did speak on this problem and made it clear that in Wildlander, the goal is to make the time spent inside of towns worthwhile and meaningful. Let's say we do wait, 10 hours inside of a town. Instead of hitting the wait button and watching time pass while your character achieves nothing, there would be a function added where we can spend this time working on specific skills, such as a marksman skill or speechcraft. Looking outside of the wait button, without going too much in heavy detail, Dylan did reiterate that there would be more things to do inside of towns, which not only benefits wounded players, but would also enhance the early game experience, which is all too often the most difficult part to get a handle on since anything and everything is deadly. One example he used is requests from townsfolk to assist inside of the towns themselves, which would help alleviate the danger that accompanies the most missives and quests currently in the game. Now, we didn't go too much more in detail, and I prefer not to speculate, but when he addresses this more in the future, I will make sure to include the updates he provides. With the end of January comes the updated wiki, the new roadmap, as well as mod customization support are all going to be open for us. To unpack these, let's start with the updated wiki. Taking a look at it, the layout is much easier to navigate, it's always been well all-encompassing, and it has a lot of the relevant information for the questions that you would run into, such as, how does lockpicking work? Or, how does pickpocketing work in this mod list? Why do all of my attempts have a 0% chance to work? Or, what armor type is best against mace users? It took me 30 seconds to find the answers to both of these questions easily using the wiki they have set up, which, for new Wildlanders, is a big help since so many things are fine-tuned in this mod list. Dylan did talk about the roadmap in quite a bit of detail. First and foremost, the goal with the roadmap is to give us the visibility to see in as much depth as we'd like what can be expected from each update the team prepares. Instead of knowing on a general look that 1.2 is going to include religion, missives, and maybe some other changes, we would be able to see further into what changes are made with religion. For example, we'd be able to see what the goals are with these changes, how this is going to affect your character's day-to-day, and how the rest of the world's going to incorporate these. Not only is this a benefit to us, being able to see in detail what's to come and all of that, but it helps the devs as well. It's easy to fall into the trap of scope creep where everything is going to be added in an update. Since they are outlining all of these changes for us, it becomes increasingly visible to them just how much they're putting on their plate. This allows them to bridge the gap between what they want to be added and what they can actually deliver. Shifting to the last major topic is the long-anticipated mod customization that was released on the 31st of January. This gives users the ability to work together and collaborate to help add different mods to our personal mod list. The dev team is taking a more offhand approach when it comes to this, and for good reason. Not only do these mods have a chance to affect the overall quality of the game experience, but there is a lot of room for user error as well. The good news is that in addition to a collaborative chat for everyone attempting to make these changes, there's also a wiki section that will slowly but surely be filled out with guides as the road for adding certain mods becomes more concrete. I expect the early parts of the mod customization scene to be the more difficult portion. As users problem solve with more mods, we will slowly have a more clear outline of what mods work and what mods have problems, as well as how to solve some of those problems the different mods bring to the table. I've said this before in other videos, but this will serve a dual purpose both for the users so that they can add their favorite mods to this pack, but also to the dev team. As we encounter and solve more issues, they will be able to use our combined knowledge of different bugs and fixes to incorporate different mods into the official pack with less trial and error. Ideally, this would shorten the time needed to incorporate different mods. Now, this was the bulk of the information for the streams. I will have the links for the wiki, Discord, and roadmap in the description for those of you wanting to take a peek. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, and consider subscribing. Stay safe, Wildlanders.